Episode 8 begins with Dr. K sending a large number of her soldiers into the Upside Down. Upon arriving, she realizes that the gates there are being hacked automatically and someone is controlling everything from the outside. That is when she notices a problem with the radio signal and realizes someone is doing this from the radio tower. On the other hand, Bowman leaves Jim, Eleven, and Collie on the way so they can reach the lab, while the others prepare to head from the Upside Down toward the abyss. Mike asks Eleven to take care of herself. They meet, and then the four head toward the lab. Meanwhile, Vecna is draining power from the children to resurrect the Mind Flayer. The rest of the group reaches the radio tower and begins to climb up. Jim and Eleven reach the lab and see Papa's old room where experiments were conducted on Eleven during her childhood. Bowman turns on the lights and activates the water tank. Jim tells Eleven that if anything goes wrong, he will knock from the outside, and Eleven must not do anything rash. Eleven agrees. She is sent into the water tank, the box is sealed, and outside, Collie ties a blindfold over her eyes, getting ready to use her powers. In Hawkins, Max and Vicky are at the radio tower. Max feels that everything has changed. In her mind, Eleven tries to enter Vecna's mind along with Collie. At the radio tower, the abyss is seen literally descending. Eleven sees Vecna and enters his mind, arriving in a school memory with Max and Collie. Outside, Bowman receives a signal that the abyss is coming down very fast. The tower is in a critical condition and about to fall. Jim tells Dustin they only have 30 seconds. Jim conveys this to Eleven by knocking. They wait for the portal to open. The abyss begins to collide with the tower breaks, and people panic. Finally, the portal opens. Eleven sees Henry with the children and uses her power to throw him out of the house. Above, the tower is shaking violently. Steve falls down, but 5 seconds later it is revealed that Jonathan pulled him up and saved him. Everyone is happy. Because he couldn't get the children's power, the abyss stops. Team 2 prepares to go up. Meanwhile, Holly meets Max. The kids think Max is a monster, but Max says she will prove she isn't. Team 2 reaches the abyss to find the children. By then, Henry angrily enters the house where he finds Eleven. She says, "You have lost. Max has left with the children." Henry grabs Eleven. The children are watching everything, hidden by Collie's power. Eleven reveals that using the children was a necessity. Henry calls her a fool because she walked right into his trap herself. Then Henry transforms into his Vecna form. He enters Eleven's mind, sees her entire life, and figures out where the children are. But by then, Max has actually left with the children. Meanwhile, Steve and Jonathan move forward, discussing their lives. They talk about Nancy, the distance, the breakup, and moving on. Suddenly, they see the body of the Mind Flayer where the children are trapped. Henry enters Jim's mind, showing him conversations between Eleven and Collie where they are planning to die after completing the mission. Jim gets scared. Vecna shows him that Eleven will die. Jim fires bullets, but it is just an illusion. The bullets actually hit the box. Jim panics, but in reality, nothing has happened to Eleven. Vecna had merely created a hallucination. In the meantime, Dr. K captures Max and Vicky and figures out the children's entire plan in the basement. Eleven and Collie still want to save the children, but the water tank is damaged. Eleven knows that Holly will take the children to the cave. Jim tells them that Vecna has revealed the truth, that Collie and Eleven have planned to die. But Eleven says there's no point if Henry doesn't die after saving the children. Jim wants Eleven to live. Collie is even ready to kill Jim for the mission, but Jim is also ready to give his life. He just wants his daughter to survive. After a very emotional moment, Collie calms down. Meanwhile, Holly takes the children to the cave, but Henry catches her. Derek pulls her inside and says Henry cannot enter there, and the children become safe. The entire team reaches the mind flare. Will gets visions again. He sees that Henry is heading toward the cave to catch the children. As soon as Henry enters the cave, he remembers terrible moments from his past, but he composes himself. Will says that no child is safe now. Henry reaches the children in the cave. Holly moves them further in. Robin tells Will that he can stop Henry. Will agrees, and the others move forward. Back at the lab, officers arrive to subdue Eleven and Collie. They block their powers using ultrasound speakers. Jim fights, and gunshots are exchanged. Holly moves the kids forward in the tunnel, where Dr. K has also arrived. Bowman drops a bomb from the helicopter. There is a massive explosion, and the speakers are blown up. 11 breaks free and kills the officers, but Collie gets injured. Jim tries to save her, but Collie has already died. In the tunnel, Henry sees the truth of his past. Dr. Brenner shot him. He found a piece of the mind flare which gave Henry powers, entered his blood to control him, and Henry killed the doctor. He remembers all of this. Will explains to him that he wasn't evil, the mind flayer used him, but Henry refuses to accept it and claims he chose the mind flayer himself. Then he revives the mind flayer's heart, and the mind flayer comes back to life. Everyone is terrified. The mind flayer attacks and people run. Then 11 arrives and fights it. She punches a hole in its chest, enters inside, and knocks Vecna down. The whole team plans to weaken the mind flayer from the outside, so Vecna weakens inside. Nancy attacks. They all burn the mind flare together. Vecna weakens. 11 holds him down. Vecna is about to kill 11 when Will gains control of his body from inside. He twists Vecna's hand and pins him against a sharp object. The mind flayer falls. The children come inside and save all the other children. Vecna is writhing in pain. Joyce, taking revenge for all the dead people in her town, hits Vecna with an axe, cuts off his head, and finishes him. Everyone feels relieved. Jim and Bowman plant bombs at the lab to destroy the power source and eliminate the Upside Down forever. Both teams exit, but their tires are punctured outside. Dr. K and the guards catch them. 11's powers are suppressed by ultrasound speakers. Jim fights and gunshots are exchanged. 11 is still in the Upside Down. She goes into Mike's mind and talks to him. She says she has to stay there, otherwise this will never end. Mike wants to stop her, but she says goodbye, kisses Mike, and leaves. The bomb explodes, the power source is destroyed, and the Upside Down begins to crumble. A massive explosion occurs, the Upside Down ends, and 11 is also gone forever. The portal disappears. Everyone is broken, especially Mike. 18 months later, everyone has moved on with their lives. The town has returned to normal. It's the children's graduation day. Max is fully recovered, meets Lucas, and both are happy. But Mike is still sad. Jim talks to him, saying that 11 made her own choice, and now he must choose life too. He explains that life is about moving forward. Mike slowly agrees. At graduation, Dustin becomes the valedictorian, giving a funny and emotional speech. Everyone is happy. Dustin gets an invitation to a party. On the other hand, Robin, Jonathan, Steve, and Nancy talk about their new lives and promise to stay together. Jim and Joyce are at a restaurant. Joyce is happy that the kids have moved on. Jim offers to move to the big city, proposes marriage, and Joyce accepts. Both are happy. In the evening, the kids play D&D again, bringing the story full circle. They talk about their future. Lucas and Max plan to live together after college. Dustin plans to become a scientist. Will has accepted his identity and is happy. Mike decides to write stories about his friends' bravery so the world knows about them. But Mike has a theory that perhaps Eleven didn't really die. He thinks that because of the ultrasound, Eleven couldn't use her powers at that time, so it was actually Kali who showed everyone an illusion. Kali, while dying, used her power to convince everyone that Eleven had died, while in reality, Eleven escaped through a nearby basement route. She went to live in a town with waterfalls with a new identity. Thinking this, everyone becomes happy that perhaps Eleven is alive somewhere. The kids go upstairs to eat. Downstairs, new kids come to play D&D. Mike smiles seeing them. And in this emotional way, this amazing series ends.